Let me tell you, there's no better time and no better president than President Sowore. Number two, remember that as you are sending money home, you should be telling your family there, the condition for the money I'm giving you is your PCV. Let them go and vote if you cannot vote now. Let them go and vote so that you can be able to put your money where your mouth is. Amen. Remember, Mandela changed South Africa. 27 years in prison. Today we are enjoying freedom in South Africa. Also remember that President Sowore is making history in our lifetime. For you to see ordinary palace, young men like him, facing the gigantic demon in our country. So if I run away from South Africa, where am I running to again? Where are you going to run to? My children and wife is saying from Imo State. My children are saying, Daddy, what is wrong with your people? What is wrong with us? We can stop it now. Say yes, we can't. Yes, we can. I want to hear you loud. Say yes, we can. Yes, we are going to take Nigeria back. Say yes, we can. Yes, we can. Are you ready to support this president of yours? Yes. Who is down to earth? Who has supported MK Abiola? In which all of your father voted for. Since Nigeria got independent in 1960, after that, 2 years later, we have civil war. After that civil war, we have coup. After that coup is civil war. Civil war to civil war. I was growing up saying, Ondo, Okitipa Express Road to Igbokoda is going to be built today. People are dying every day. Stand up for your rights. Stand up for your president. Some of you here are going to be minister in this cabinet. Some of you are going to be chairman of local government. In your lifetime, we must take Nigeria back. I know there's no time, but I have so many things I can say. Without wasting your time, again, you will go home alive. As you are sending money home to your family, tell them you need to see their PCV on WhatsApp and on SMS to you as a proof that they are supporting you. It is not enough. It is not enough to say, Sowore, we love you, and not vote. If you cannot vote, how many Nigerians here use Aduro? Yes, I've been South Africa for many years. I've been minister, I've been president of South Africa, I've met many of them. That's not a big deal for me. But I cry every day seeing Nigeria in the street. We should not allow this president to travel around with his own money without supporting financially. We should not allow him to go around meeting people in the street and we are not supporting him. This place is too small. Let's make sure now you plant your seed and plant it in a soil that is well grounded. Finally, Mr. President, I want to volunteer myself to be part of your team. I would love to speak in Sahara TV every day so that my son can have Nigeria ID card. The reason why the corruption is in Nigeria is that we don't have ID card. They stole, if you have ID, if you have ID, you can be able to be traced for a criminal. If you are a 419, you can be able to be traced. But what's wrong with 419? 419, by the way, we don't promote them. But if Sowore when he becomes a president of Nigeria, our president, we will take all the 419 together and make them to be intelligent, just like China. So you can produce, you can reproduce, you can go the intelligent force and bring ideas. Enough is enough. I say enough is enough. So you know 5 Nigeria, you know 2 Nigeria. Talk to them tonight. The presidency is not for Sowore, but it's for you. Say it's for me. It's for me. Say it's for me. It's for me. Say it's for me. It's for me. Take it. Take it. Take Nigeria back. I want you to rise up now and give a good salute to our president. Let's make South Africa visit a different for him. I didn't say bring money. Rise up and give me a salute for his courage. All of you, please. Take it! Take it! Your Excellency, I stop here. This is not my first and last time supporting your government. I have spoken to many number of investors who like to invest in agriculture in Nigeria. Myself, I'm a farmer here in South Africa, and I want to see food in the street of Lagos. I want to see food in the street of Enugu, Imo State, yes. Owerri, Onitsha, Abuja. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Gosa! Gosa! Gosa!
Thank you very much. That was very, very inspiring. Without wasting much time, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, right now we are going to move to the most important part of this town hall meeting, and which is the questions and answer. And we are going to have 3 sections. We are going to have 3 sections of 4 questions each. So our presidential aspirant will be answering 12 questions. Our presidential aspirant will be answering 12 questions. So to coordinate that session, ladies and gentlemen, please, I want you to put your hands together for Pastor Ernest Mbanefo. Please put your hands
Pastor Ernest! Pastor Ernest, a round of applause, please.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. God bless you. Thank you, God bless you. Thank you. God bless you. Praise the Lord. This evening service now. We have spent a lot of time attending to quite a lot. We don't have much time left. I'll try to go straight into the business of the evening, this session, to do justice to the assignment given to me, which is to coordinate and moderate the question and answer session. My name is Pastor Ernest Mbanefo. I'm not from Kong. I'm from Winners Chapel, Johannesburg. I've been around in South African politics, just Nigerian politics in South Africa, for quite a little bit. And what is sad is when Comrade was speaking, he said, them. And somebody will sit and wonder, who are these people? There are 2 ways. These people, all of us know this, what I'm about to say now. When we were growing up, I think I had a privilege of being crossed over from the old to the new, even though I look very young. In the early 80s, we were told, you are the leaders of tomorrow, when we were in primary school. The same people who told us we are the leaders of tomorrow in 1980. They are still leading. When are we going to lead? That's why we have an opportunity here, as one who was also told back then, you are the leaders of tomorrow, taking that bold step towards leadership. Can we put our hands together one more time for the comrade? I was called upon sometime about 2 weeks ago or so, say, Pastor Ernest, you were recommended to handle this session. And I said, okay. Immediately I had not heard about you before. I had to go and do my research. And I'm here because the outcome of that research was impressive. When our coordinator here, or moderator, Doris, called me, if this woman asks you a favor, you can't say no. When she called me, I just had to say, no problem. But his background is very impressive. I won't say much because he said it all. When I saw the fact that he had been an activist in Nigeria, University of Lagos, Students' Union President, and also the founder of Sahara Reporters. Sahara Reporters is not just one of them. You have to understand that this online news platform does not accept adverts from government. It means they cannot be influenced. So he has said much, and we have heard much. We're going to ask questions. Now, I did split the question and answer session into 5 sections. We'll just apply wisdom. The Holy Spirit is here, hallelujah. I didn't hear amen now. The Holy Spirit is here, hallelujah.
Amen.
Thank you very much. The 5 segments, I'll read them out now so you can prepare your questions. Everyone will not ask a question, but if somebody asks the question that you're about to ask, you can just as well put your hand down, rest your case, and let him answer one question. There are 5 segments. One is about the man. About the man. That's Comrade Sowore Sowore. Something happened when we were preparing for this assignment. We were trying to draft a few things, the program and all that, and somebody said, presidential candidate, Sowore Sowore. And somebody raised it, I said, no, he doesn't like that tag because he's yet a presidential aspirant, not a presidential candidate. And when you call him honorable, so and so and so and so, he says no. For now, you call him a comrade or you call him Mr. That's humility. So we're asking questions about the man, his background, sure, years of activism and all those things up to today, and also, like he said, moving out of his profession as a geographer into the realm of journalism, just to release that passion inside of him. So we'll be asking questions there, and we'll take 2 questions for that. Now, number 2 is about his decision to run. About his decision to run for presidency, which means his aspiration, the Take It Back campaign. You want to ask a question about that campaign as well, that will be the time, second one. And number 3 is about Nigeria. The state of Nigeria, we're talking about the state of the government, the state of politics, and corruption. In his eyes, the way he sees it, you want to, because the reason we're asking this question is to tap into his potential and his personality and see if we're dealing with a charlatan or waka pass, or just to fill the number. You must know there are about 18 of them, 18 presidential aspirants in Nigeria. How many?
46.
46. There you go. Confusion break body. 46 and counting, doesn't matter, the specific is not important. Over 40 presidential aspirants, not candidates. Come again? Hallelujah. So, we have an opportunity to ask him questions. That's number 3, about Nigeria in his eyes. And then number 4 is about his plan. He said he didn't want to go into manifesto and what they want to do, but that would be an opportunity, 1 or 2 questions, so he can tell us his plan and then solution. And then about diaspora. I thought it was very, very important that we address us. So the last segment will be about the diaspora, Nigerians in the diaspora. We're looking at voting, we're looking at intellectual flight, the return of intellectual return, and also human capacity return. So many professionals all over the world doing things in their different spheres of life and refusing to go back home to go and invest or to go and help in nation building. So these are the 5 segments, and without further ado, I'm going to take off with the first one.
I'm right here.
Yes. Comrade, carry go.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much, sir. So I've got one here, 1 more person. Just 1 more. 1 more. 1 more. It's 1 here. In the absence of a lady, I'll take 1 more male. I saw that hand first. Okay, withdrawn. Okay, let's take that.
Question, please, right?
Let's take that Alaji there. Please, can you have the mic? Your name, sir, and not your testimony, your name, and your name and your question.
My name is Sowore2019. It seems like our life has been it went in the same way, because I am a graduate of University of Lagos. I was at Akoka in 1985, and from Akoka I went to Idiaraba, and I was there for 5 years. It's not a question, it's about the man. Now, what I just want to say is that I've been following you for the past 5 months when you came out that you want to become a presidential aspirant. And there is only one thing that I always see when you answer questions that resonates with me. And I want you, because they say about the man, so I want you to continue to go in this direction. Talk more about yourself. Talk more about things that have happened to you in your life, as an activist as a student, and there are times when they ask you about if you become the president concerning corruption. People come and they say they are going to do this. Are you going to do that? There are things that you've said before in the past, like when you were with Abiola and he came with some money and you told him so many things, that if you take this money, how are you going to now be able to say that when he's doing wrong? Those are the things that you have to portray about yourself, that when it was not right to take something, you were able to show yourself. Sorry, sir, can I have the mic? Sorry. Okay, thank you.
Put your hands together for him. Thank you very much.
Excuse me, can we try as much as possible to refrain from narratives, please? Let's try as much as possible to refrain from that. Straight to the question. We don't have that time, please. Please, thank you.
Sorry. Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate your contribution. It was very specific and said, it is not a question.
No, but it's a Q&A.
Yes. So that will take as a word of advice. Probably he may not have a private session with the comrade. So thank you very much, and I believe he has heard you. For that reason, about the man, we'll take just one more question. I'd identify the Alhaji there. Please let him have the mic. Yo, please straight to the point. Your question in 1 minute. Your name, please. First.
My name is Chiba Olaya from Ondo State. I don't need to ask about me. I think I know everything is online. I will want to ask, election, your election is next year, sir. And we know what it takes to unseat the puppet from the president. We've never heard about the political party, how it's going to send the message across the United States, everywhere. We just know we know your election is on going to be yourself.
Okay, thank you very much. I understand your question. It's asking about the political structure or platform that Comrade Sowore wants to run on. Sir, please, we'll save that question. You answer that question under your decision to run. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for Olaya for that question. In trying to make the most of time, I think with all the introduction he was about himself, I think we can as well just move on from the questions about him. That has been overemphasized. Now, about his decision to run. At some point, like I said, 5 months ago, he decided, I'm going to run for presidency. Why? That's not me asking the question, what are your questions? We'll take in 2, please. Can we have a lady? Let's have a lady ask the question. There's no lady. I see your hand up, sir. There's a lady. Yeah, thank you very much. Let's have the lady first. It's the lady and then it's you. It's fine, we'll see. If reserve, you can take that position. So please, I'll just put the questions maybe 1 or 2 so you can just shoot one time.
My name is Helen Shaban. My question is, Mr. Sowore, you decided 5 months ago that you're going to be the president of Nigeria. I want to ask, how are you going to tap into apart from the manifestos of all our past leaders, how are you going to handle the population of Nigeria as a leader?
Thank you very much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sowore2019.
Go on.
Mr. President,
your name, please.
My name is Sowore2019. We heard about your impact towards COP23. Sir, how was that easy for you to lead the revolution this time? Thank you.
Thank you. It's about the same question. I still want that. Yes, let him have the mic, please. It's the same question, so you just address all at the same time. Basically asking, you declared 5 months ago and...
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
My name is Sowore2019. I'm from Oyo State. My question to our president to be is this. Last week at online, I was watching one program you went for in Abuja. I saw you with some of others aspirants, young aspirants, like Toye and all of them. My question is just that, as we know, if we look at it critically, I've been following you. I have a group in Nigeria. I even have a guy that they can die for you. As I'm sitting down here, they are throwing questions to me online. That's what my question is that out of all the young aspirants we see, we can see that the most vibrant. I can't lie. My question is that you have been having a meeting, a coalition meeting.
One house.
Aspiration for other aspirants. Maybe put some pressure from any angle. That is my question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Hello. Please.
Must be patient with people here. We don't want leaders like you.
Please. Quiet, please. It's a general consensus here. We're racing against time. Fine, you may ask only 2 or 3 questions that are relevant, and that will be enough. But in under the circumstances that we're here, it will not make sense for you to stand up. You want to take 2, 3, 4 minutes, and you think you're making sense. Don't frustrate yourself. Listen, the question is straight. I'll just put this to you. That's basically where he was coming from. You can add it to the question you're going to answer now. It was on the 31st of July 2018. You and the other aspirants had a meeting. It was a consultative meeting. And you had a resolution in that meeting. Your resolution impressed me in the sense that you actually said you were going to come together if needs be and work together. So ask along those lines. You had the 2 questions. You can answer them.
Okay. I have a microphone. Thank you very much. I'm enjoying the atmosphere. This is the kind of Nigeria we need, where people will interrogate leaders, advise them, make comments. And I've always said that part of the problem we have is that we don't ask the would-be leaders enough questions. And they figured out how to hide from us, because most of them cannot answer the questions, even the simple questions we have here. The man in Abuja cannot answer it. I'm not ridiculing him. That's the truth. And people who are goading him on would never allow you to be exposed to ask him any question, except prepared questions and answers. I think look out there. I want to thank you. You only gave a nice one about a little bit of what you knew about my life. Afolayan, you asked about political party. I addressed it very quickly that we are going to choose a political platform very soon. It will happen on or before August 15. Don't worry about political parties. There are plenty of them in Nigeria today. Political parties don't mean nothing if it doesn't have political content and substance. And this is the reason why our movement started first. Because if you look at South Africa, where you are based, the ANC started as a movement before it became a political party. It started to become watery the moment it became a political party. And you know the kind of characters they have produced. I'm not trying to get, banned from South Africa again. Kenny, you asked about the population of Nigeria. Huge population. Oh, sorry, Helen. Sorry, I apologize. It's corrected. Huge population. Part of the reason we started by traveling around Nigeria first was not to take it for granted that you know Nigeria when you haven't been to all of Nigeria. I am saying in front of all of you here that in 5 months, I have been to more Nigerian cities, towns, and villages than Buhari has ever been since he came to power in 2015. Not only that, we have also been to more places around the world, because it's a global movement. We have done over 60 events. And when we went to these places, until we went to some places, we didn't know that their needs are even different from what we think they need. So we have this mentality which comes from going to school that we have designed a one-size-fits-all for Nigeria. Every Nigerian is not in need of roads. I'm telling you this. Because some people, they just need what to eat first. Some of them don't even want to leave their villages, but they want presence in their life with schools, little bit of health care here and there. And until we approached and reached them, we didn't know what they wanted. So we have done a need assessment around Nigeria and come to the conclusion that we now know what Nigerians need. But if you want to ask me what they need, we are going to spend another 3 hours here discussing it. There's nothing about the Nigerian population that is uncontrolled. In fact, the Nigerian population is the best and most powerful resource that Nigeria has got right now. Vibrant people. One day we were coming from Jalingo to Yola, and I saw herdsmen with about 400 cows. I told the driver to stop. I want to talk to this man. What is the problem? We stopped and talked to the herdsman. He told us, and this is how to understand populations, that nobody in the South has ever approached him before. Because they just assume that they are all criminals. And I asked him, if we build a ranch, will you stay there? I said, of course. Because as he's running around with these 400 cows, he has to run around with his wife and children as well. That means there's no way the children can ever go to school. I said, sir, I would love to send your child to school. The moment he left, I turned to the other side of the road of the farmer. And I said, what do you want? He said, if you can get tractors and fertilizers. Is that what you need in Edo State? Definitely not. Is that what they need in Ondo State in the River Rhine? Definitely not. If I hadn't traveled to the place, I would think that everybody in the north just needs schools and roads. And we hadn't thought about tractors, because in the north, even though they are doing agriculture, they are still using cows to plow their farms. Whereas, with due respect, the people who bastardize the country, they run around with at least 50 jeeps. SUVs, Prado. If we don't go there, how would we know? Because they are driving around in Prados because the roads are not good. But the price of one Prado can buy 2 tractors. But nobody cares about the farmers who they just need a tractor. If a tractor walk a whole day, it will do more in terms of hectarage or acreage of land cultivated than a governor who is walking around with a big fat stomach, even if they spend another 20 years. Because they are not interested, they are not looking at those things. They are more interested in running to Abuja, collecting money, sharing it, and then moving the money out to Dubai. South Africa is also one of the places where they come and steal and invest. Lucky Igbenendo has one of the biggest houses in this South Africa.
Correct.
You understand? And these are things that we must collect from them. Every one of them, yes.
You know them.
Somebody mentioned about the young aspirants, and I want to address this very. The meeting we had with young aspirants should be understood from the perception of what all of you are calling for. Let all the young people come together and present a united front. It doesn't mean that we must present one candidate, because not all the young people are representing your agenda. Yes. Some of them came out to run for different. In fact, on that day was the first time I knew some of them were running. They were very interesting. I said, I've never seen you before. Because that's the first meeting where I knew they were running. But they are all better dressed than I am. Very presidential, you know. So I told them very clearly, I told them a story about Abiola. Because some of them are saying that, oh, we should present one of us as acceptable to the elders, them. I said, that was the same mistake they made in 1992 with Abiola. They said Abiola was the most acceptable to the military. even though they had other candidates that they could have presented. But that Babangida is his friend, so if he wins, they will hand over to him. I told them, I'm not looking for a candidate that they are willing to hand over to. We are looking for a candidate that we want to take over from them. If they like, don't let them prepare the handing over notes. If they like, don't let them even attend the swearing in. That's their problem. Yes, sir. So, to be very clear, I did not make any commitment to stand down for anybody. In fact, I refused during the meetings, and I'm disclosing this to you, to join a coalition with them. They said they want a coalition. I said, look, I don't want to be part of any coalition. One, I have a coalition anxiety because there's so many coalitions around Nigeria now, too many, including the one that set up with PDP, the Cup of Sorrow that they just started. But secondly, I don't want to join a coalition in which there will be 2 executives or 3 executives. When I travel to somewhere, before I come back, the coalition has stepped down for somebody. And I will not be running around to say that I was not there. I don't want that kind of a coalition. I said, we will be meeting on a need-by-need basis. And if Nigerians judge that, if they decide that they want to pick somebody, it's fine by me. But what is defining my own role in this presidential race is to go after the establishment that has destroyed Nigeria. Because some of them, with due respect to them, are not willing to even say things that offend these people. They are all very, very nice, very presidential. But all of you, you know me, I say my mind every day. You don't have to, yes. So that's just to address that. The 5 months declaration that we've had has nothing to do with the politics. It started as a movement, and the movement is what will drive the political party platform. But the party will be announced under which we will carry, the presidential ambition will be realized. But that will not affect the revolutionary nature of our movement. I will say one last thing, Pastor, is that, a lot of Nigerians don't trust political parties. The only way they want to get involved in this thing is through a movement. In fact, so many of them have told us that they won't join a party, even if we join a party. But they will vote. Because they don't trust this bastardized, but there are 68 political parties in Nigeria. So many of the parties were set up by PDP and APC people. So if you go and join them, that was why it was easy for PDP to go and set up a coalition of parties. Let me tell you, is it not oxymoronic by PDP who claim to be the biggest party in Africa, to now go and collect parties that are briefcase parties and say that they are forming a coalition with it? It's just like you already declare yourself the father of the house, and you now go and call one of your sons that you are co-father of the house. Does that make sense? So they are playing a game. And one of the things they did when they formed a coalition, 2 parties that we were discussing with, they went and paid them and made them join them, thinking that we have joined those parties. So we step aside. And the final thing is that, when Buhari came in 2014, they didn't really launch APC until October. And then he became a candidate in December. And he won the election so we are way ahead of all the political, and there's no political party right now, whether PDP or APC, that has chosen a candidate. All of us are aspirants for now. That's just to put your mind at rest. But we will run, and we'll declare a political party. When it comes, please embrace it and let us take it to the final.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Please, sir, the man on the brown, it's Olaiya, right? Olaifa. I want to publicly apologize to you for... Okay, we're going to the next segment. It is about Nigeria. About Nigeria. I see your hand. There was one hand there. Hold on, please. What we'll do, I think I'll just take all the questions together and then you answer it one time because of time. It's about Nigeria and the state of Nigeria in his eyes and what his intentions are and what to do. I can't take all the hands. Please, I'll take this one. That's the lady in white there.
Can we give them numbers, please? So
yes, 1. That there, the light-skinned one, 2, yeah, you 2, and then 3. You raise. Okay, please, because of time, it's okay, we can't take all those questions. It's 1, 2, not this. Yes, it's you, 3, and then the big man there, 4. Quickly, please. Yes. Please, let's just try and hit the question straight.
Good evening, everybody.
Your name?
My name is Olani Abodedele. Comrade Sowore, my question goes those. And it has to do with foreign policy, international foreign policy and diplomacy. As that always been with Nigeria, and that's what is still obtainable today. Nigeria has no written foreign policy on how it deals with country, but operates on reciprocity, tit for tat. But yet, a lot of countries get away with atrocities against Nigeria and our citizens. Examples are India and China, to mention a few, with regards to their visa policy against Nigerian business people, despite their huge benefits in Nigeria and from Nigerians. The huge killings.
Why you have to mention South Africa?
No, listen, I'm coming. Listen to me. Listen to me. Sorry. I'm not done. The huge killings and bad treatment of our citizens in many countries without justice, like South Africa, China, India, and co. If you become the president of Nigeria, is this a policy you intend to keep, or do you have anything different from this to deal with these countries? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Number 2, yes.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ashabi Idisoni. My question is, it is obvious that the Nigerian people are sick and tired of politics as usual. So what will you do as our new president to help rebuild the trust with the government? Thank you.
That's it.
Hello, my name is Onyeka Wendwe.
Can you stand up, please?
No, I can't stand.
Okay.
I would like to know if you're going to probe Buhari when you win and jail all of them for us.
Yeah, jail all of them.
My question goes. My name is Palayiti Toko Sunday. My question goes, how are you going to handle corruption in civil service in Nigeria? Because before I came here, I'm one of them. I know what material is. There are some people that they will sabotage your program. So how are you going to handle corruption in civil service in Nigeria? Thank you.
That will be the last question for this segment. I want to make it's a question as well. If you've noticed, there's a funny trend going on right now. Somebody moves from PDP to APC in the morning. By 6 o'clock, he moves back again. That cross, you see, please permit me to share this. This is not a question. Comrade, this is my own contribution. I honestly don't believe that one single man can fix Nigeria. Even with all the ideas and all that. Why? That was his question. But like he said, he was going to make electricity happen overnight. Only to find that the DG of Power and Steel with Big Tommy tell him, no, there's a way we do things here. And he never succeeded. Sir, you can attend to those questions. Please, we have 2 more sessions. I hope we'll make that time. It's about his plan and his solution. You know what? While we're there, can we take this, or you want a few more?
I can take it so that
for time.
we continue to have robust engagement.
Okay.
The first question is foreign policy. I don't think that Nigeria has a foreign policy, with due respect. They might have some things on paper, but I don't think it's called reciprocity. The foreign policy of Nigeria is the same way Nigeria is run. They respond, it's a fire brigade approach, in which when there's crisis somewhere in Africa, Nigeria will go and play the big brother role, and then they return back home. And it becomes an avenue for corruption and corrupt enrichment. Nigeria is not respected enough internationally to even have a foreign policy that you can define. And what we do, and I want you guys to stop using the word "if we win." Let's be using the word "when we win." Right? We should reach a point of confidence now about this. We can defeat these people. There's no big deal about it. Yes, thank you. So, India, China, there's a lot of things happening at the foreign policy level, including even sometimes the immigration quota into Nigeria, where people will just ship in people to do jobs that Nigerians can already do. You know that the first thing with immigration in any country for the workforce is that you bring in workers that you can't find at home. But when you bring a welder from Philippines, you mean there are no welders in Warri who can go underwater? Because we don't have a foreign policy, because we don't have a government in the real sense of it. And I'm not apologetic about it. So there will be a foreign policy overhaul, whether it's towards India, China, South Africa, even some Boy Scout countries around us. They take us for granted. Common Benin Republic there, they don't respect Nigeria. So how do you expect China to respect Nigeria? Or even you are going too far, India. And the biggest culprit is in South Africa. They have no respect for Nigeria. And I'm saying it on their soil, so that there's no question about where we start our conversation from. It has to be respect. I said it yesterday when we came, they went and started printing the hotel booking of everybody that's Nigerian. The moment the Nigerian plane landed, the antenna went off. And they left us, abandoned us there. It took an average of 15 minutes to process one Nigerian. They will go and print, the guy will come play, go again, because they don't respect us because we don't respect ourselves. So, our foreign policy must start from a home policy of respect for our people. How to rebuild trust in government? This is not a jam question with multiple answers. The simple thing is to rebuild trust in government. Government must be for the people. Government must serve the people. The moment the government is serving you, it will build trust in you. When the government is not serving you, you cannot use National Orientation Agency to fool people. It doesn't matter how many times NTA says that you should be patriotic. If your government is not working for you, there's no way you can have confidence in the government. And to have confidence in government, you must have confidence in the leadership of the government. But when you have criminals running your country, how can you have confidence in government when you know that the roads whose contract has been awarded 10 years ago is still not being built? Or that somebody will come and remove the transformer of your area because you didn't vote for them? How can you have confidence in that kind of government? The first thing is to vote and elect people who are responsible and responsive into position of authority in our country. The moment we do that and things are working, how would you have confidence? I was telling somebody when we went to a meeting yesterday, how many times have you asked in South Africa what is their system of government? Because what concerns you with the system of government? When you can ride on the road, you have electricity. Even your prayer points are different here in South Africa from Nigeria. I'm telling you, you can ask the pastor. He says
very, very correct.
Yes. There's nobody who's going to be coming to your church to give testimony that he just got a transformer. Because they don't even know where the transformer is located in their neighborhood. That's the truth. Onyeka asked about if you jail all of them. You know, this is a controversy I want to get me into. I can only tell you that the people who are innocent will be taken out of jail, and those who are not innocent will replace them in jail. Corruption in our civil service. It's very easy to, you see, to modernize civil service, you have to go digital. There's no alternative to it. Most of you have offices in this South Africa, you cannot enter without your fingerprints. In Nigeria, we don't even know how many people are in our civil service. They have 21% of the civil service are ghost workers. And you know the number one ghost worker in Nigeria is in London now. He's taking the second vacation this year, and he hasn't worked for 6 months. That's Buhari. That's our number. So, when you, yes, that's the same salary. When you have a system that is not modernized, that is not digitalized, that is not catching up with the rest of the world, you cannot reform it. But most importantly also, we bear responsibility for taking care of our workers. When civil servants see what is happening to all these pensioners on the street, they don't want to end up like them. So whatever they can steal now, they will steal it. There are some civil servants in Nigeria that are richer than the ministry where they are working. But what do we need to do? We also need transparency in governance. There is no reason why every civil servant in Nigeria will declare their assets and will make the assets public. If you own a company in Nigeria, we're supposed to know which companies you own. If you put my name on Google today, and you can find out which companies I'm associated with. In Nigeria, it's opaque. You don't know who owns companies. You find out a contract for 10 billion went to a company, and the board member of the company, the chairman, is a 9-year-old boy. How did he become the chairman of the company at 9-year-old? The man that is even the chairman of the company did not know about the company for which he got a contract. So, transparency in government, digitalization of government, also remuneration. That is why we said we will start the salary of civil servants with 100,000. 100,000 is nothing. It's just what they implemented in South Africa, $300 per month. So many of you, it's not even enough for you to buy a recharge card. But when you say to Nigeria that you want to give workers purchasing power, they say it will cause inflation. What is the meaning of that? What is the meaning of inflation? What is causing inflation in Nigeria is the corruption that is happening in Nigeria. Because one person is in possession of the salary of everybody. The Nigerian senators we are talking about, their take-home pay every month, not their salary, but their allowances, is 13.7 million naira per senator. That is the salary of 720 civil servants, and you expect the civil servants to perform wonders. And the senators are even saying that that is not enough. An average Nigerian senator is collecting more money than the president of the US. Yes, you can do the Google search. In fact, on our website, Sowore2019. Yes. So until we properly remunerate, we also cannot expect wonders to happen from our civil service. So there's a lot of reforms that will take place. One of the things that we do directly is that anybody who has spent over 25 years in the civil service, we buy them out. We do a buyout. We pay you the salaries for the rest of your term, and you get the salary paid and your pension, and you leave, so that we can inject new hands in our civil service. Yeah. And with technology, we can purge our civil service of ghost workers. In one day, they found 80,000 policemen are fake. Yes, in Nigeria. The rest of them are protecting the criminals in Abuja. VIP's job. So there are no policemen to go and protect people in Zamfara where they are killing on a daily basis. But whenever they need police to go and rig the election, suddenly they are available. A lot of work, people, but we have us here. We can do it. I'm not the only one, because you mentioned that one man cannot do this. Of course, I understand that. But one man can motivate a nation to freedom. Yes. Yes. That's the one. So, I think we'll stop there and take the rest.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please, for the sake of time, we're going to merge the fourth and the fifth segment. It's about the solution, his solution. He's already answering those questions anyway. But we can as well now go into diaspora, about diaspora. You and I right now don't have voting. You have voting rights, but there's no platform for us to vote once you leave outside Nigeria. It's been widely talked about. When is that gonna, what are his plans? And then intellectual flight, human capital flight, and whatever else comes into your mind. But please, we'll take 4 questions all together and he will answer them. You can see all the hands are up. I'm like a coach. I can't choose more than 11. That's soccer coach, I mean. I love that lady with the... Yes. Okay, I did say, oh yeah, among yourself, choose one person. That lady is number 2. That lady is number 2. Yes, very handsome. Because he's handsome, that's what I'm choosing. Yes.
Can you take the numbers again for me, sir?
Finish.
The numbers.
Okay, they have chosen, I like that. They have chosen themselves.
How many people?
It's one. Whoever they choose, there's one. Yes. I love that assignment.
We have 3 already.
There you go, there's only one. On that segment.
Just give us 5 here.
Yes, so please, 2, 3. Yes, 4. 5.
Why do you like that type?
Okay.
One house, please. One house, please.
Okay, it's fine. No, this is no passion here, trust me. Okay, please. The good news is this. After whatever number of questions we take place by 7. The lady there is number 2. So it's 1 there coming. It's 2. It's 3. It's 4. It's 5. 5. Yes.
Add 1 here.
Okay. Yeah. Then.
We have not, all the questions that have been answered ever since. Yes. We've not spent about 15 minutes. Exactly. Please accommodate your introduction. Managing it very well. Managing that talk less. You fast or talk less.
We're sorry about that. Can we just go quickly on it? On the 2.
Ask your question.
Microphone.
Go ahead.
Hello. My name is from Ondo State. My question goes to comrades. Comrades. Hello, comrades.
Yes, go ahead.
My question goes like this. You know, in Nigeria, there's godfatherism. How are you going to stop the godfatherism in Nigeria policy? In Nigeria policy, 2. When Comrade Adam Oshomole came in Labour, he said he's the Messiah then. But now, the godfatherism continuing in Nigeria is the worst ever man will ever know in Nigeria today. How are you going to stop all those things?
Thank you very much.
My name is Ifeanyi Kala. We went through your manifesto. It was quite a good one. But the questions, you told us what you would do and all of that. But we'd like to know how. How is the major thing? Because you can say a lot, but how? Now, how as regards, how do you intend to fight the vested interest? Sanusi said something that the problem of Nigeria can be summed up in one thing, the vested interest. How do you intend to fight this cabal almost everywhere within the country? And close to it, the ethno-religious crisis in the northern part, especially the Benue Jos crisis. How do you intend to deal with that?
Okay, my name is Tendai. I'm from Zimbabwe. And according to the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development,
the FDI, foreign direct investment in Nigeria, has decreased by 24% due to austerity measures and unfriendly and corrupt systems. So what is your plan to be more accommodative towards transparent foreign investment and foreign partnerships with the Nigerian government and the Nigerian companies? Thank you.
Olaleka Samuel is the name.
Hello.
So, Mr. President.
No.
Let him speak on.
Wait.
Olaleka Samuel from Ekiti. Mr. Sowore, when you become the president, you said when you become the president,
Yes.
you are going to scrap the Senate. It's actually a good idea. But we all know, looking at what is happening around the world, it's democracy. It's going to be difficult as a president to single-handedly scrap the Senate.
Your question.
So, how do you want to scrap the Senate without any member? Because it's like you running this show alone. You want to become the president. How do you, if you can't scrap the Senate if you don't change the constitution? How do you plan to change the constitution?
Hallelujah Media Corporation, HMC. My name is Pastor Isaac Adiola. And like yourself, Comrade Sowore, I'm also a U.S. permanent resident and a journalist. I have a question about the the intellectual flight drain out of Nigeria. There are millions of well-educated Nigerians in the U.S. And like you know, the most educated immigrant lots in America are the Nigerians. Even here in South Africa. What are your plans when you become president to attract the millions of educated Nigerians to come back to Nigeria? That's number one. To make their own contribution to nation building. Number two, quickly, recently, according to the BBC, 67% of Nigerian population are under the age of 30. That's about 120 million young people under the age of 30. What are your plans when you become president to save the Nigerian youth from themselves?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, speak quickly.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Saki Abidji.
Quiet, please.
My question is based on maintenance. As we all know, it's easier to build, but how to maintain is very difficult in Nigeria. When it comes to maintenance in Nigeria, we all know that Nigeria is in F9. What are you going to put in places for maintenance? Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. My name is Femi Jayesimi. I wanted to ask a question. Somebody mentioned something about it, but I want to ask again. Listen, if you win the election, when you win, okay, fine. When the election is won by Sowore, our president. Now, don't forget, our constitution is like our Bible. If we look at the constitution in Nigeria, our constitution is very, very porous. And don't forget, our constitution was designed and given to us by the military. That is where there are so many gray areas in the constitution. How do we go about? Because if the constitution is not written totally, I'm not going to have amendment at all. The constitution needs to be rewritten. If it is not done, you cannot perform. Thank you.
Thank you, Otumwa.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. First, Smart. My question is quite simple. The issue of identity. Mr. President, because I believe in this movement, corruption everything, even voters card. We have people voting from Chad who are not Nigerians. People from Nigeria. And even the allowance in civil service, identity. Everything ties to identity. Ghost workers tie to identity. And identity is sacrosanct with security. We don't know who is a Nigerian. How do we intend to tackle this? And lastly, on the issue of diaspora interest. Most educated people are outside Nigeria. Qualified people, professors, are outside Nigeria. And the issue is, do you believe in diaspora voting? Thank you.
Thank you very much. That will be our last question we'll take, and the comrade will answer the questions now.
Thank you very much. I will try and rush through your questions because we're told that if we spend 1 minute beyond the allocated time, we'll be in trouble. Question of godfatherism came and Oshiomhole was mentioned. I have, with due respect to all of you, fought godfathers my entire life. I fought them when I was in the University of Lagos, had no godfathers. When I left Nigeria, I fought through Sahara reporters, all the known godfathers in Nigeria. So you can imagine what will happen as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria. It will be a funeral party for all godfathers and godmothers. I want to say very quickly that when you are mentioning people with principle, be careful with Oshiomhole. And I'm saying this because Oshiomhole is not a real activist. He's never been. Even during the pro-democracy era, they arrested everybody, including toddlers like me. You can never find anywhere Oshiomhole was arrested during military rule. He was in bed with Abacha. They arrested Kokori, arrested everybody that was visible. Oshiomhole was not touched. In fact, the first time I met him was in 1998 in Abuja, or 1999 thereabouts. I saw him at a club. There was no activist at that time that had the temerity to go to a club in anywhere in Nigeria, talk less of Abuja. The guy had 2 women in a club and he was dancing away shaku shaku when shaku shaku was not popular. Please, when you are mentioning principled people, forget about Oshiomhole. Oshiomhole just fooled people. It was Oshiomhole, even all those petrol prices fight he was used to do in those days. He will agree with Obasanjo in advance, increase it to 300. We will fight, and then you reduce it to 150, and then they will say that he's a fighter. It's all a fraud. Please, when you are mentioning serious people, be careful. How do you intend to fight vested interests? It ties to the question of godfathers as well. Who are the vested interests in Nigeria is the question you ask yourself. They are the same political godfathers who purchase election for people and ask them to stay there while they stay back, and then they do with Nigeria what they like. Like I've always mentioned, you cannot have electricity in Nigeria when you elect a person who is selling generator as your president. There is a vested interest in the power sector. They are importing generator into the country. We know them. We demolish that one, not by fiat, by bringing electricity to Nigeria so that that business will die. We have vested interest in the petroleum sector. We know what they do. They allocate, oil blocks to themselves. They allocate import and export of petroleum products to themselves. These things can be transparently demolished as long as the president is not corrupt. I do it now as a daily routine until recently, because I haven't had time recently because of this presidential ambition. One of them even saw me in Abuja and said, these days that you are not as Sahara reporters, they breathe easy. It's not like before that used to give us hell. Because the truth is that in the last 12 years, I understudied all these guys. I know them. In fact, as I would say to you without bragging too much, most of the corruption cases that have been exposed in Nigeria in the last 10 years. Somehow I have a hand in exposing them. I was the one who fought Ibori until he went to jail. I fought Saraki. Everything that Panama Papers is doing now, I already did it since 2015 on Saraki.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Yes. So who are these vested interests? I mentioned something on air. Nobody could counteract it. Since we exposed Stella Odua's corruption in the aviation sector, there has not been any major air crash in Nigeria. No major air crash since 2013 when we exposed Stella Odua, and she was fired as Minister of Aviation. Do you know how life-saving that can be? So imagine if I do that as an individual without any powers beyond my pen and my computer strokes, what I can do as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Our Zimbabwean sister asked about accommodation of foreign investors. Thank you, it's great to see you. I also not only fought Nigeria vested interests, I actually led a fight against Mugabe in Abuja in 2015. You guys saw it on with Adeola. We ran after him and said, when are we coming to Zimbabwe to have inauguration? He couldn't answer the question. And we are glad he's out of the place now. Even though you guys fell from the hands of a fish into a crocodile. Good luck with you. It's your right. Accommodation of foreign investors has to do with our policy. Without security, there's no foreign investor that is coming near you. You cannot do it by NTA saying we are expecting foreign investors. The moment you don't have your house in order, foreign investors won't come near. Foreign investors don't need a story about you. There's no long story. Foreign investors, before they leave their houses, they investigate whether your country is safe, whether you have electricity, if you have infrastructure, if the system is rigged or corrupt. They look at the alacrity of how companies can process and register, and how fast they can also take out their profits. The moment you don't have all those things in place, forget about foreign investors. But beyond foreign investors, we must also think about small businesses in our country. Nigeria, for example, our banking sector has the worst interest rates in the world. How can you borrow money at 27% interest rate and pay it back? It's not possible. So those are things we have to look at. Generally, I'm saying it without reading any scripts prepared in advance. Everything I want to do in Nigeria is walking around with me in my brain. Because Nigeria is not as complicated as they let you feel all the time. So many of the things we need to do in Nigeria are so simple and can be done. The moment electricity is shining, foreign investors will be queuing up and begging us. Because we've got 198 million people. That one is magnet for foreign investors. If you are making shoes and you can service 10 million people in a year, you make profit like no man's business. Even common food, the moment this whole fast food business entered into Nigeria, foreign investors are killing themselves over Nigeria. Why do you think MTN loves Nigeria like crazy? Because the moment they're able to put a phone inside everybody's hand, and with their recharge cards and their horrible data, they're making a killing. $13 billion is what they bring back here to South Africa all the time. It's part of the reason South Africa must respect us. You know? How to attract Nigerians home. How to attract Nigerians home? We will use the Indian strategy. When India wanted to attract its best home, they did everything they can. They invested in security. They even, in some cases, created cities for them that are safe and have the same kind of things they enjoy over there. They help them, they give them tax breaks, they help them, they give them waivers for things that they bring home, like if you want to bring your car home, your furniture, you know, and they make sure that they don't remove all the bottlenecks. But nobody is coming home until we fix Nigeria, starting from the airport. I'm telling you, something as simple as arriving at the airport and feeling welcomed, or being able to use the toilets at the airport upon arrival or departure. Removing all those custom officials who are a disgrace to Nigeria. or something as simple as waiting for your bag to come out of the conveyor belt on time while the AC is working. Because most of the time, while you are waiting for your bag, the AC is not working. They will tell you that it is evil spirit that is holding the... It's not a joke. The moment we fix our country, the things we want to do, people will be coming back. It's just like foreign investors too. You see, the people that are most eager to return to Nigeria are Nigerians who have left a long time ago, who are tired of staying outside. And so many of them have come back, spent 3 months and ran away back again to once. They prefer the suffering. If you think about Nigerians and coming back, what about Nigerians who prefer to go and die inside the Mediterranean Sea instead of living in Nigeria? The ones that were rescued from Libya have all returned back to Libya. What are you talking about? Because there's nothing at home. And we must put that country, we must make that country work. Then all of you will be back with me. I don't need to invite you, no letter of invitation. Electricity. And the moment you come home, like I said, that means 12 million homes because you build your own house. And that will provide jobs for people that are on the ground. You will support Nigeria, you support your family. Nigeria will be a fantastic place. To the extent that South Africans will be begging us to visit Nigeria. Yes. By the way, I don't hate South Africans, but there's no way I can feel good about the way they treat us. Especially the things that happen to our brothers. We just have to respect Nigerians. But Nigerians must also respect themselves at home first and get their acts in order. Maintenance culture, it comes with responsible leadership. That one is a simple question. You cannot maintain what is not built. Well, Nigeria hasn't built anything in a long time, so the culture of even maintenance is not a question we should be asking.
Comrade, sorry,
they're running out of time.
Pressure is too much.
All right.
Just please, sir, please. Just
I want one last.
Take this one. Take this
Yes.
one on finance. How do you finance your campaign?
Financing of the campaign is done transparently, openly. We are raising money on GoFundMe. So far, $62,000. We want to raise $2 million. We are not spending a lot because we are not buying Ankara and bread for people. We are selling ideas, and people are buying it. We also have our local South African team here. They have an account you can donate to. They will send it to us in Nigeria. We have a Nigerian account at Zenith Bank, only one, into which you can donate, and we screenshot how much we make every month. They're not great right now, but I've been told that you will support us if you see us. And so many people said the moment we declare a party, we will get funding.
Thank you very much. Please.
Let me ask one last. Let me answer one last question regarding the Constitution, and that's very important. The Nigerian Constitution is a fraudulent document. It's not your Constitution. You cannot call a Constitution that you did not make a Bible. It's not a Bible. We must change that Constitution as part of the revolutionary change.
Amen. Please.
Quickly, all committee members, please, can you step out, please?
All committee members, please.
Committee members, please.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful people. Please, just hold. 1 minute.
All committee members, please.
Please wait. It's very important that we must showcase the people who put in effort, resources, their time, and make sacrifices for all of us to be here. This venue, after a lot of discounts and negotiations, costed us $20,000.